Meet you at Monticello. Great racing at Monticello. The world's very fastest half-mile track. That's Monticello Raceway. Meet you at Monticello. There's excitement at Monticello.
Good evening once again. Welcome to the Inside Track. I'm your host, Gary Sussman. Well, we're just about into the first week of the summer, but we're at the midway point in the Inside Track season. This is our 10th show of the Inside Track season, as I just said. And what we have tonight is something that we haven't had before, and that is a rerun. Several weeks ago, we showed you the computer betting system at the track where you can bet and cash all at one terminal. Well, we're going to show that for you again tonight with Mr. Bill Liberty to give those people who have never been to the raceway or who may be coming to the mountains for the first time exactly what goes on at Monticello Raceway where you can now bet and cash at one system. The professor will be on with the Mighty M Can-Am race in the Jersey Cup from the Meadowlands. We'll see more of Rambling Willie. He'll be at the raceway on July 5th, and we'll see some human runners who are at the track on June 28th. All that trivia and much, much more. But first, let's take a look back now and see who did what on the Week in Review. Ronnie Ingrassia, he is our driver of the week. He had a double on Thursday, June 25th. Friday, he had a single, a double on Saturday, the 27th, a single on Sunday, the 28th. 6 wins on the week, 27 wins on the year. He's moved into third in the dash win list. Gary Messenger, a double on Tuesday, June 23rd, a double on Friday, June 26th. 5 wins on the week, a good week for Mr. Messenger. He is now second in percentage driving. George Foldy piloted Treacherous Brett to victory in the Sun Sam Early Closing Series on June 23rd. Foldy's third straight win with the Flying Brett Colt. Billy O'Donnell, a little cloudy on your screen, but not cloudy in the standings and the purse winnings for the country. The number one driver in the country has won purses totaling over $1.6 million, but Johnny Campbell is right on his tail. Johnny Campbell only $30,000 behind Billy O'Donnell as he goes for his third straight money title. And back to Monticello Raceway, Ralph Verone drove Hank's Paradise to victory on June 28th, but more importantly, he became a grandfather on June 23rd when his daughter Gina gave birth to a boy, 7 pounds 11 ounce Michael Manzi. And the Manzis now have another boy in the family. John is a proud member of that family, of course, Mr. Ralph Verone, and congratulations to Ralph, and everybody is doing fine. That is our Week in Review. Time now for our highlight calls on the Inside Track, and we take you to Tuesday, June 23rd, race number 9. This was the final of the Sun Sam Series. As I said earlier, Treacherous Brett, piloted by George Foldy, won the race. Owen Cash, though, was the morning line favorite. Owen Cash set the national season's mark in his previous race, 2:02 and 2/5, but he broke going around the first turn, and Treacherous Brett held on for the victory. Owen Cash put on a closing rush but could not catch Treacherous Brett. So let's set the stage for you now. Tuesday, June 23rd, race number 9, and for the call of the race, let's go up to the booth and track announcer Jerry Glantz.
I'm a Wanderer ninth. They head to the 3/4 pole. Treacherous Brett a half length. Mr. Chairman giving way at the rail, and the outside oil in the can. Captain Hogan is fourth. Good Night Special 3 wide fifth. 3/4, 132 and 1. Paddock turn the final time. Treacherous Brett with a lead. Oil in the can is second. A gap before. Good Night Special third. Mr. Chairman along the rail fourth. Owen Cash comes on fifth. They've got an eighth of a mile to pace now. They turn for home. Treacherous Brett on top, 2.5. Oil in the can is second with Good Night Special and Owen Cash. Through the lane, Treacherous Brett with the lead. Oil in the can, Good Night Special and Owen Cash with Rebel Rouser. Treacherous Brett's going to hang on.
And Treacherous Brett 2:04 and 2/5, winning the Sun Sam Early Closing Series for 2-year-olds. Highlight call number 2 was not to be a special race. It was only a 12.5 claimer. Wednesday, June 24th, race number 7, but it proved to be a sub-2-minute mile. Marty Jane, driven by John Gilmore, and this was John Gilmore's first sub-2-minute mile in 2 years at Monticello Raceway, even though he has been the dash winner. Big John doesn't get many sub-2-minute miles, so we're going to show that race to you. Wednesday, June 24th, race number 7. Let's go to the call of the race.
2.5 lanes. Levanto is second, Christine in third. Kilburn Lad under it, drive fourth, Fly Love fifth. Regal Belmont comes on sixth, 3/4, 1:29 and 3. The third quarter, 29 and 4. Into the far turn, Marty Jane by 4. Levanto is second, Christine in third. Kilburn Lad fourth, Fly Love fifth. They've got an eighth of a mile to pace now. They turn for home. It's all Marty Jane and John Gilmore. They've opened up 7. Levanto is second with Christine N. Marty Jane with the lead. Levanto second. Marty Jane in front.
Marty Jane, John Gilmore in the sulky, 1:59 3/5, a sub 2-minute mile at Monticello Raceway in a race that didn't figure to be one of those kind. And those are our highlight calls of the week. Coming up on the personality profile, we take you back to Monticello Raceway and show you the new computer betting system where you can bet in cash at any window with Mr. Bill Liberty. We'll have that for you right after this message.
Now y'all just know this is the mighty Mississippi. Don't you now?
Surprise! Every place you see here is in New York State, because New York has more to see and do than most countries. Call for a free vacation guide that shows you where everything is.
Now let's head for Old Dixie.
Standing in the lobby of the world's fastest half-mile track, that being Monticello Raceway. And I'm standing in front of the Bet Cash windows, the newest and most talked about innovation at Monticello Raceway in years, the TIM 300 betting terminals, where you can bet in cash at each window. On the front of our program, we tell you how to bet. On little handouts that we give out at the raceway, we also tell you how to bet. But to give you a closer and more insightful look at the system and the advantages of this new betting terminal, we're going to talk to Mr. Bill Liberty, the mutual manager here at Monticello Raceway, right now. So let's go back behind the scenes to the betting terminal and to where the tellers look upon the crowd. Let's take a walk. We are now behind the scenes from where the teller looks upon the customers at Monticello Raceway. My guest is the mutual manager of Monticello, Mr. Bill Liberty. Bill, you have become an instant celebrity at Monticello because of the new TIM 300 betting terminal. Before we go into the mechanics of the betting terminal, what was the concept behind revolutionizing Monticello by putting computers in?
Well, what we found, and what's been found all over the country, Gary, is the fact that under the previous systems, you lacked the total flexibility needed in today's market to be able to accurately sell to the public and satisfy the public to all their needs in one window. The concept actually is not really new. It was researched back in 1950 by IBM in Chicago and was found at that time, because of the large equipment at that time, before microcomputers and mini computers, that it wasn't feasible. In 1974, General Instrument, in trying to design a machine for the New Jersey Lottery, came upon this terminal. They took 120 programmers in Towson, Maryland, put this terminal together, and found that it had more than a lottery application. In fact, it was over-programmed for the lottery. So naturally, their next obvious step with them, seeing that they have New York City off-track betting, was to design this terminal for OTB, which they did.
Now, the obvious advantage, machines over tellers just punching the numbers, is quicker, efficiency, and you can bet faster and bet more money.
Positively. To give you an example, make a comparison. Okay. We have a ticket in front of us, which is a $5 exacta wheel.
Okay.
In the old days, or in the old system, the window was dedicated, meaning that value was preset in the computer. So when a person came up to the window, they would order, in this case, they wanted the one horse on top with everything else in the race. That clerk would then have to punch a 1 button and then a button from 1 to 14, as this ticket denotes, all the way down. It was time. That's right. So you ended up coming up with 14 tickets. Obviously, by taking this ticket, $5 exacta, 1 on top with everything in the race, you've saved about 2 minutes.
Now, I see that this machine is set up in the same way that we're telling the customers to bet, A, B, C, except there's no C here, the C being the choice of the horse, but you have A, which is the amount, B is the bet type, C the choice of the horse, right, so that what the customer tells the teller corresponds to what is on the machine.
That's right. And our tellers, most of them have the experience now, and have had the experience being here for a number of years, that regardless of how the people call their bet, at the end of their order, they can pick out what they want. So a lot of times the order will come in reverse, or they'll put the bet type first, then the horse, then the amount. our clerks now have the experience to be able to pick that out and put the bet in sequence.
After the second race, you can pre-bet any race 3 through 10. How does the machine do that?
Very simply, Gary. After the second race, when we open all the pools for the rest of the evening, if a person wanted to leave early, wanted to bet the 10th race, and it's only the third race, they would go to the clerk and ask them that they would like to bet the 10th race, $3 trifecta, 1, 2, 3, for example. The clerk would then push race, number 10, $3 trifecta, 1, 2, 3, and the bet is registered in the computer for the 10th race. It's called advanced wagering. The concept hasn't caught on here yet, but it's a big success of the other tracks.
Now, this is from the teller's viewpoint. Many customers obviously don't care what the teller's problems are. They want to know about what their problems are. We're going to get to that. But first, I want to take a walk over to the computer room, which is another innovation in Monticello where people can actually see the computer setup. So let's take a walk.
Fine.
Okay? We are now in the computer room at Monticello Raceway, and Bill, there's all sorts of computer equipment here. Why don't we start with what's exactly in front of us and just proceed along the wall and give the people a brief explanation of what they see when they come to the track.
Well, what we see, and as the public will see and where we're standing, because we are enclosed in glass, is about $1 million worth of equipment that has been installed for the 300 system. Actually, there's two complete computers. Computer A, which is the master, without getting too technical. Computer B, which is the slave.
Computer A is on the right. Oh, you can see the A and the B.
That's right. Also, as you go to the right of the computers, there's what they call front ends and back ends. They are so important in the nightly use of the terminals as recording the bets, but also importantly, and more important to me, at the end of the night, the reports on how every terminal did, and all the reports that are necessary both for the state and for the Harness Commission and for us. So what we have is a console in front of us and what is called a deck writer here, which actually issues commands to the computer to get the reports that we want. Anytime during the evening, one of the operators from American Toad can sit here if they're having a problem with a terminal, which will automatically flash on the computer on this deck writer. He can, in turn, ask the computer what happened. We'll find out, go out and rectify the situation. So there is complete control from the terminal to computer and from console operator to computer. In front of us is a console that tells the computer to calculate prices, whatever pools there are, and starts to finish, and actually is the control of this whole bank of computers. As you can see, in looking at these computers and at this console, and over on the right and to our left, you'll see what a part television plays in the running of this tote room. Communication is all important, and in fact it is the vital thing that makes the whole computer system tick. They have to be able to communicate with the various betting lines in the plant. They have to be able to communicate with the judges on the roof and to the people out in the infield board to make sure everything is going according to form.
Now, these things are obviously all computer technology and the way that the TIM 300 works. Let's talk about a little bit about the aspect from the customer. The object of the TIM 300 of the new betting terminals is for increased efficiency. From your viewpoint now, we're in a couple weeks into the season, what are some of the problems been with the way the people bet, the way the tellers have handled with just the operation of getting the money to place the wager?
Well, Gary, it's a twofold thing. First of all, I would like to tell the public, in the start of this system, as it has been in all racetracks, a little patience.
Patience is a virtue.
Also, that's a two-way street, too, because I think our clerks have to be a little patient. But as they become more proficient and the public becomes used to betting with these, they're going to find that it is the greatest thing that's ever happened to them. Right now, we have several problems. People being creatures of habit. Under the old system where we had preset trifecta windows and preset value windows such as a $5 win or a $10 win or place or show, or an exacta window or a quinella window. What has happened that we've seen in the first week of operation here is that the people are going to those windows to buy those particular bets. And what will happen, we'll have 4 or 5 people in line what used to be a $10 win window, and next to them there's what used to be the $10 place window. There's nobody there and they won't move. And this is the problem. It's all a matter of education. I don't see any major problems. I know there's, horse players are a breed of cat unto themselves, and it takes time. They're going to have to get used to it, and our clerks have to get used to it. So it's just a two-way thing.
And that's one of the things I think that's so important, is that you can bet and cash and conduct any type of wager all at one window. You don't have to go to any other windows.
Absolutely.
And it's an education process, not only, as you said, with the customer, but with the tellers. And it's a two-way street. So I think people should be aware that it's not, if there maybe is a slow line, it's not necessarily the teller, that it may be customers in the line who are not ready to bet. They didn't realize that they could do certain bets at certain windows. So that's total communication between both teller and customer.
It is. It's a dialogue. That's one thing of the 300 system. There has to be a dialogue between clerk and customer. And it's an educational process. Jerry Glantz, who I think is one of the greatest voices in harness racing, our announcer, is announcing all night long that you can make any bet at any window. But it hasn't sunk in yet. But it will. It's, it'll work. It'll work.
Thanks a lot for taking time to talk to us.
My pleasure.
And there you have it, the TIM 300 from both the teller's standpoint and the customer's standpoint. It's at Monticello Raceway. Bet and cash at every window. And please come and join us at the Raceway and sample our new machines. We'll be back with more on the Inside Track right after these messages.
Promotional considerations for the Inside Track provided by Claire's County Seat Restaurant for a congenial and truly elegant culinary experience. Ralph Cutler's Mail Modes, home of the Sandsabelt Slack, free alterations while you wait. The Down Under Lounge, if it ain't happening at the Down Under, it ain't happening. The Canton Restaurant, in Monticello, Chinese means Canton, open 7 days. The Valley Inn, where to go for sandwiches, burgers, and Connie's special cheesesteaks. Willie's Bend and Elbow, serving dinner, pizza, and sandwiches in a lounge of distinction. Falls Poultry, you'll fall in love with Falls. Miss Monticello Diner, the finest in early American home-style cooking. And Bernie's Holiday Restaurant, food served with a pinch of love.
Welcome back to the Inside Track. Time now for the Professor segment. I now introduce to you the man who has set the consecutive appearance record on the Inside Track 10 weeks in a row, the Professor himself, Mr. John Manzi. Welcome, Professor.
Good evening, Gary.
Good evening. Listen to this, getting very formal. And I now want to show you something. Everybody can see this on their monitor. Professor, what is this? Stump the Professor.
Where was that?
You
took that from my desk or something.
One of the New York City newspapers, after watching the Inside Track, I guess, has decided to stump the Professor. Can you believe this? Is this you?
That's me, I guess.
That's you. That's
pretty close.
Baseball strike. We don't care about that, even though it does help harness racing.
Yes, we do. It helps us. There's more money to be had by other sports.
And people aren't staying home to watch TV.
That's for sure.
We have two excellent races for the people. First of all, we talked about the Can-Am, the entire Inside Track season. Now we finally can show them the Inside Track Can-Am from Monticello.
Right, Nordic Almahurst from the rail, had everything his own way, went wire to wire, as you know, 158 flat yesterday.
Now, I think the interesting part about this race, there were two tiers. Pumping Iron, who is the point leader in the Can-Am, was the second tier. What does that do to a horse when he has to race from the second tier?
Well, sometimes it's better, Gary, to race from the second tier than it is to start from the 7 or 8 hole, especially from the 9 hole. That's not a real hindrance. I don't really make that a hindrance, but unfortunately for Pumping Iron, he kind of peaked early. He's not as good now as he was earlier. So that more than starting from the second tier hurt him.
Okay, so let's look at the race now, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Set the stage for you. Sunday, June 28th at Monticello Raceway, race number 9. And for the call of the race, our good friend, Mr. Jerry Glantz.
They're off and pacing. Jim Bargene is off stride. Nordic Almahurst going for the lead. Scenic John in the outside countdown. On the extreme outside, JZ leader. Into the first turn, Nordic Almahurst, Scenic John, and JZ leader. 3 wide battle for the lead. Mike's Happy Fellow, the rail 4th. Countdown in the outside 5th. Jim Rocky 6th. Pumping Iron is 7th. Finney and Hanover Roughgated 8th along the rail. It's Wilton's Dotzer. Far back Jim Bargene, the quarter, in 27-4. Paddock turn the first time. Scenic John the outside ahead. Nordic Almahurst at the rail. Mike's Happy Fellow 3rd. JZ leader parked on the outside 4th. Jim Rocky 5th. Countdown 6th. Pumping Iron is 7th. Wilton's Dotzer is 8th. Finney and Hanover 9th. Far back Jim Bargene. They come by the stands the first time. Nordic Almahurst and Ray Remen a length. On the outside, Scenic John, Mike's Happy Fellow, the rail, the half in 56-4. That second quarter, 29 flat. Into the clubhouse turn. Nordic Almahurst with the lead. Mike's Happy Fella right there second. Jim Rocky third. Scenic John still living on the outside. Pumping Iron on the outside with Finney and Hanover. At the rail, JZ leader, followed by Countdown and Wilton's Dotzer. Heading to the three-quarter pole, Nordic Almahurst by 2. Mike's Happy Fella the rail with Jim Rocky. 3/4 on the board, 1:27.2. Paddock turn, the final time. Nordic Almahurst trying to hold on. Jim Rocky the outside. Pumping Iron, 3 wide third. Mike's Happy Fella the rail with JZ leader. They've got 1/8 of a mile to pace. Now they turn for home. Nordic Hanover draws off by 2.5. At the rail, Jim Rocky with Mike's Happy Fella. Nordic Almahurst in front and drawing away from Jim Rocky. Nordic Almahurst in front.
Nordic Almahurst had the race basically his own way the entire race.
Right. Ray Remmen was, he let them come to him at the three-quarter pole, and he stepped on the gas, and he just jogged home 5 lengths, 6 lengths ahead of the rest of them.
And the reason I'm laughing is I don't want the people to think that Nordic Almahurst is schizophrenic. Jerry Glantz caught it. Nordic Hanover going into the stretch. You're allowed to make a mistake once in a while.
A slip of the tongue, but he came right on back, and Nordic Hanover wasn't great.
$20,000 purse at Monticello Raceway. Once again, that time 1:58, a scorcher at the Mighty M.
He could have gone faster. He probably could have shaded 57 if he had any challenge. Yeah.
Okay, let's now go down to New Jersey for the Jersey Cup, which took place on June 20th. French chef, the short order cook, was cooking pancakes at the beginning, ended up cooking grits or home fries at the end.
He raced a little bit better this week. Stanley didn't take him to the front. He let the field settle. Seahawk, Hanover, and Eastern Skipper took the lead. Past the quarter, I think Eastern Skipper came back to the front. Stanley then moved his colt to the front. Past the quarter, I think 27 and change, and he coasted to the half in 57, 3/4 and 1:27. French chef had no excuse.
Just didn't have it at the end.
He raced a little bit better. He was only beat a little bit at the end, but he still he can't beat.
Not the chef.
Not yet.
Not the gourmet.
But the winner, Seahawk Hanover, a product of the Mighty M early closing series last year. Skip Lewis trained. Skip Lewis races with us at Monticello.
Okay,
you know.
The Jersey Cup, $130,000 purse. Let's now go to that race Saturday, June 20th, race number 6, and for the call, Mr. Ed Gorman.
And a good one it is.
Go. 4 horses across the track bid for the early lead. French chef on the rail. There goes Eastern Skipper out to bid for that lead. Seahawk Hanover going to go right with Eastern Skipper. Those 3 across the track, and Eastern Skipper gets the rail in the lead. Seahawk Hanover moves alongside, now takes command from Eastern Skipper. French chef stays with cover 3rd. 2 back to What a Fast Deal in 4th. Curtis Hanover's on the move in 5th. With the rail in 6th is Skipper's Ensign. Next, Steady Card together with Fleet Decision. Then off the turn, that's Tiger Almahurst, joined by No Nero, Computer, and last is Wildwood Jeb. 28-1 for the quarter, head down the back stretch. French chef, guns to the top, opens 2. Second is Eastern Skipper. Seahawk Hanover's 2 back in 3rd. Curtis Hanover alongside in 4th with What a Fast Deal. Inching up then a closer 6th on the outside, Fleet Decision. Next is Skipper's Ensign on the rail. Gaining ground now to the outside, that's No Nero. Steady Card joined by Computer. Next, Wildwood Jeb and Tiger Almahurst. The half in 57.3 onto the far turn. French chef cruises along with a 2-length advantage. On the outside, now Curtis Hanover's moved up within range into 2nd together with Eastern Skipper. Up a closer 4th comes Fleet Decision. Then it's Seahawk Hanover. And on the outside and ready to move at the leaders, No Nero. They reach the 3/4. 3/4 markers are off the turn, 127 flat, and French chefs had the racetrack since the quarter pole. It's French chef up top. Here comes Eastern Skipper. On the far outside, No Nero and Computer from far back. Seahawk is also closing in. French chef fighting to hang on. Eastern Skipper's got a nose up, but Seahawk's got him collared. Seahawk in front.
Seahawk Hanover, Benny the Whip in the sulky, 155 and 2/5.
Just bided his time. He got a good trip out of it with the other 2 horses sort of playing checkers, one moving, then the other moving, and he sat in and he got out the last 1/8 or last 16th of a mile, and he won it easy.
And French chef came in 5th.
Yeah, he faded. He was only beaten maybe ahead for 3rd. So he raced a little bit better. I look for this horse to get a little bit better as time goes on.
2 great races, though. The Can-Am from Monticello, the Jersey Cup from the Meadowlands.
Top races.
And we'll be back with more in the Inside Track, trivia, and upcoming promotions right after this message. Very good analysis.
Promotional considerations for the inside track provided by Carlos's Restaurant, the best Italian food in Sullivan County. Lefty's Charbroil, the better burger place. Kessler Brothers Butchers, Kessler's label enhances your table. The Bagel Bakery, famous for bagel treats and sandwiches, open 7 days. House of Lions, fine dining in a country inn atmosphere. Dunkin' Donuts, it's worth the trip, open 24 hours. Ellery's Betty Bright Cleaners, featuring complete tuxedo rentals and tailoring services. Capito Brothers Tire Specialists, for family care of your tire needs. And by the Holiday Inn Restaurant of Liberty, diversity in dining for the public appetite.
Trivia time now on the inside track, and just as a side note, if you don't know that it's summer outside, just come into the studio because John's smoke now is just hanging eye level. Just keep waving. Just keep waving, that's okay. The trivia question from last week: what former Monticello Raceway driver won the Monticello Classic? The answer, Professor?
Benny the Whip.
Your
Webster,
man.
right. 1972, leading percentage driver of the summer meet, a 424 average.
And what horse was he on?
In the Classic,
In the
Oil
Classic.
Burner.
Oil Burner. I just wanted to see if you knew. You're the professor, not
I got
me.
it.
And that was won by Susan Albrecht.
Trying to stop me, huh?
I know. Susan Albrecht of Hurley, New York. She wins dinner for two in the
won the third
Monticello
Classic,
Raceway Dining Terrace. I don't know, and I'm the student, not the professor. What is this week's question?
All right.
Smarty.
We're staying right with the Classic now. Who drove Silk Stockings to victory in Classic 1?
And there you can see it on your screen. You can write to the inside track, Monticello Raceway, Monticello, New York, and you too can win dinner for two in our beautiful Raceway Dining Terrace. Promotional time on Sunday, June 28th. We have everything at Monticello
Battle of
Raceway.
Scholastic Leagues.
We had humans running on
That's
the
what
track.
we did.
3 area high schools set
Right,
teams.
a mile relay from 3 leagues: the Orange County League, the Mid-Hudson Athletic League, and the Western Sullivan League.
And the crowd got a charge out of it.
It was good. Fans like to race, any kind of race, whether it be snails or horses, or fans cheer.
And Monticello sent Tracy Armstead out of the gate fast, and she
won. And here is Kelly Lawler making his bid at the end to win it for the...
Ed Neiman, Professor.
Is this Ed Neiman?
Yes, Kelly Lawler was third.
Oh, he ran third.
That's okay. This is the end of the race.
Okay, this is the finish. The Orange County League, my old alma mater, Monty High.
And let's give credit to the riders from Monticello.
Come on, boys. I was happy.
Tracy Armstead, Lynette Mitcher, Kelly Lawler, and Ed Neiman, and for the second year in a row, an interscholastic run at the Raceway. And it's a big hit with the fans. The crowd roared during the end of the race.
Yeah, they were cheering them right on.
They love a stretch of any kind.
But it wasn't a close race, though.
Okay.
But I'm glad, because we won.
Upcoming promotions. July 4th.
The fabulous fireworks display, a 35-minute show, Suss, after the races. No added admission charge. Just for the price of admission, you get to see the fabulous fireworks display.
And on Saturday afternoon, July 5th, one of the great horses of all time, your friend, Rambling Willie.
That's right. That's Rambling Willie. That's Sunday. I'm going to check you this time. Sunday, July 5th, Rambling Willie, probably one of the greatest horses of all time. A book about him. He's going to be at the Orange Plaza Mall from 2 to 5 on Friday, July 3rd. And he will be racing in the Franklin E. Devlin Memorial Pace, a $10,000 race on Sunday, the 5th of July. One of the greatest horses of all time, closing in on the most wins, 111 lifetime wins so far. And he was a winner just on June 28th, just a week or so ago, 158 flat. So he's still showing his heels.
Okay, what we're going to do now is show the people Rambling Willie. He's been on a 17-track promotional tour to promote the book and, of course, his great career. This race is from the Meadows in Pennsylvania.
Right, it's the Meadows, Del Miller's track.
Not the Meadowlands, the Meadows.
No, the Meadows, built in 1963, a 5/8 mile track, the home of the Adios Pace.
And one of the great calls with Mr. Roger Houston. So
He's a good one.
Set the stage. June 6th, race number 4. Let's go to the monitor and Mr. Roger Houston.
Rambling Willie by a length and a quarter. Flash Roger is second. On the outside, Cadoo Simmons is third. Connoisseur fourth. Beloved Skipper on the outside fifth. Star Racer goes to the outside as they race around the turn. It's Rambling Willie at the rail. The 3 quarters in 1 at 29. Third quarter in 30 seconds flat. Cadoo Simmons on the outside second. Flash Roger racing third. The outside, Beloved Skipper. Connoisseur with nowhere to go fifth. Star Racer on the outside. It's Rambling Willie by a length and 3 quarters. Flash Roger is second. Star Racer and Beloved Skipper. Rambling Willie showing his heels to the field by 2.5. 1:57 and 2.
Do it, Roger.
Listen, you call Roger up, tell him not to get so excited at the end of the race. Great race call.
Yep, and Rambling Willie is a chance for fans to see one of the truly legends in the harness racing game. Not many horses will race like this. The horse has won almost $2 million in his career, and he's 11 years old and still going strong.
So let's set the calendar for the people. July 3rd, Rambling Willie will be at Orange Plaza from 2 to 5.
Correct.
July 4th, we'll have the fireworks display after the races at the Raceway.
And Willie will be there the 5th of July, Sunday afternoon, in the Franklin Devlin Memorial Pace.
Quite a weekend.
It's going to be a big one.
Professor, thank you for coming by this day.
Okay.
And
Nice meeting.
my thanks, of course, to the professor, Mr. John Manzi, Mr. Bill Liberty in the Computer Tote segment, and Dick King from Orange County Cablevision for the filming of that segment. We'll be back next week with more on the Inside Track. Have a nice week.
Meet you at Monticello. Great racing at Monticello. The world's very fastest half-mile track. That's Monticello Raceway. Meet you at Monticello. There's excitement at Monticello. Meet you at Monticello. Great racing at Monticello. The world's very fastest half-mile track. That's Monticello Raceway. Meet you at Monticello. There's excitement at Monticello.
Good evening, and welcome once again to the Inside Track. I'm your host, Gary Sussman. Throughout the first half of the Inside Track television season, I've tried to bring you behind the scenes at Monticello Raceway and in harness tracks throughout the country. And today we bring you another angle into harness racing with a member of the Fourth Estate, a member of the Albany Times Union, one of the leading sports writers in New York State and one of the leading harness writers in upstate New York, my good friend, Mr. Bill Heller. He'll be with us on the personality profile. The professor, of course, Mr. John Manzi, will be along later on in the show to take a look at the Battle of Saratoga and Rambling Willie, who was at Monticello Raceway in the first weekend in July. Of course, trivia, upcoming promotions, and much, much more. But first, let's take a look back now and see who did what on the Week in Review. Mr. George Gilmore, he is our driver of the week. He has rebounded after a torrid start. He had a double on Thursday, July 2nd, a single on Friday, a single on Saturday. He's the third leading percentage driver. He has 25 wins on the year, Mr. George Gilmore. Gary Messenger has taken over the top spot as the leading percentage driver at the Mighty M with a 329 percentage. He's also the leading trainer with 14 wins harnessed so far. Eddie the Sheik Heisel, a double on Friday, July 3rd, a single on Saturday. He now has 11 wins. He can do other things besides drive camels. Mario Marcelino, a double on Friday, July 3rd with Afton Grand and Placido C. 10 wins on the year for Mario as he breaks into the double figures at the Mighty M in dash wins. Jimmy Allen, a single on Wednesday, June 1st, a double on Thursday, June 2nd. He has also rebounded after somewhat of a drought at the Mighty M. He has 25 wins on the year. And Mr. Ralph Ferrone, who didn't see his picture on TV last week because he went on vacation, so we've put it back on this week. A double for the new grandpa, Ralph Ricerone, who became a grandfather 2 weeks ago. And I hope that Ralph did like that now that he has seen his picture on the Inside Track. And by the way, the leading drivers at Monticello Raceway through the first 2 months of the season, Johnny Gilmore, the leading dash winner with 52, way ahead of Joe Rico, who's in second place at 29. Time now for the highlight calls of the week, and we go to Sunday, July 1st, race number 1. $4,200 purse. Most Happy Frost, a 7-year-old gelding by Most Happy Fellow, was the morning light favorite with Richard Stark in the sulky, and he had the lead for 3/4. But let's watch Cookie Bear on the outside. So let's set the stage. Sunday, July 5th, race number 1. Let's go to the call of the race with Mr. Jerry Glantz.
Fight fifth. Bye-bye Mermaid, racing 6. Noble Rick has the best view. They head to the 3/4 pole at Still. Most Happy Frost by 2.5 lengths. Cookie Bear is second, Careless Dante third. Stormlord on the outside, fourth and going up, 3/4, 1:28-4. The third quarter, 29-2. Into the turn, Most Happy Frost by 2. Stormlord on the outside with a rush, Cookie Bear third. Pillow Fight on the outside is fourth, Careless Dante fifth. They've got an eighth of a mile to pace now. They turn for home. Most Happy Frost hangs on to the lead. Stormlord on the outside, Cookie Bear. Through the lane, it's Stormlord getting the lead. Most Happy Frost at the rail. Pillow Fight with Cookie Bear. Stormlord and Cookie Bear, they are heads apart.
And Cookie Bear with George Foldy in the sulky won that race. The final time 1:59 and 4/5. The fractions, by the way, 29-2, 59-2, and 1:28 and 4/5. Cookie Bear and George Foldy winning the first half of the Daily Double at Monticello Raceway on Sunday, July 5th. That's our first highlight call. Second highlight call of the week was also from Sunday, July 5th. It was race number 8. Pasta Bird and Wildcat Notice were the morning light favorites. Pasta Bird driven by Terry Finch and Wildcat Notice driven by Joe Rico Jr. And Wildcat Notice did win the race, but watch closely on the replay and watch for Wildcat Notice at the top of the stretch and see what happens. And then we'll tell you what happened after the race. So let's set the stage for you. Sunday, July 5th, race number 8 for the $5,000 purse. Let's go up to the booth and Mr. Jerry Glantz.
Alfano Hanover has the best view. They head to the 3/4 pole. Over Strength holds on to the lead. Southampton Henry the outside, second Wildcat Notice third. On the outside, fourth is Willie Wees. They're by 3/4, 1:30-4. Paddock turned the final time. It's still Over Strength with the lead. Southampton Henry hanging in there on the outside. Wildcat Notice looks for racing room third. Willie Wees 3 wide fourth with Pasta Bird. They've got an eighth of a mile to pace now. They turn for home. Over Strength with the lead. Wildcat Notice between horses. Southampton Henry on the outside. Over Strength, Wildcat Notice, race the end, at the rail, Wildcat Notice in front.
Now, what happened in that race? Wildcat Notice was disqualified for interference at the top of the stretch as he brushed wheels with Southampton Henry. Willie Weiss with John Gilmore in the sulky was placed first, and Overstrength, number 1, had a lap-down break at the wire, and he was placed 4th. So Willie Weiss was first, Southampton Henry, the 6th horse, was second. And that is our second highlight call of the week. Coming up on the personality profile, my good friend and one of the leading harness riders in upstate New York, sports writer for the Albany Times Union, Mr. Bill Heller. He'll be with us right after this message.
Yonder, rising from the mist of the loch, aye, the ruin of Macbeth's castle. Or is it?
Surprise! Every place you see here is in New York State, because New York has more to see and do than most countries. Call for a free vacation guide that shows you where everything is.
And now for an old Scottish ballad.
I love New York.
Welcome back to the Inside Track. Time now for the personality profile. And I welcome to the Inside Track set my good friend and former college buddy, high school buddy, whatever. This is reunion day, Mr. Bill Heller from the Albany Times Union. Welcome, Bill, to the Inside Track.
That's a pleasure.
Bill, you are a sports writer for the Albany Times Union. You're a harness rider for the Albany Times Union. You got your start, though, in harness racing at Monticello Raceway. Why don't you give us a little background on how that came about?
Well, I used to get my addiction at Monticello Raceway, betting on people like John Manzi before he got smart and left that part of the business. But, yeah, that's when I used to first start going to the track was at Monticello. And when I went up to Albany, I became part of my career.
Now, what did you like about harness racing that made you go back again? What was it about the sport that brought you back again and made you want to write about it as a writer?
I think it's a very exciting sport. I think it doesn't get the attention it deserves as a sport when it is top-notch racing, such as Saratoga just had Grand Circuit Week, or when you have the OTB Classic or Sire Stakes. When it is a sporting aspect of it, you look at something that is decided in the space of 2 minutes. 10 or 8 different horsemen think they have the best horses. We're going to decide it in 2 minutes. No best-of-7 playoffs, no 162-game season. 2 minutes, let's get on the track, and we're going to see who's better today anyway. And it's simple, it's fast, and it's exciting.
Okay, you mentioned Grand Circuit Week. We'll talk about the sport of harness racing in a few minutes. What I want to do is talk about the past week at Saratoga. It was Grand Circuit Week, and they had 2 $100,000 races, the Harriman Trot on Friday, July 3rd, and the Pace on Saturday. You, though, will set up the trot for us. Tell us what the trot was about, how the horses qualified, and what went into putting that race together.
Okay, about 2 or 3 years ago, Saratoga always had Grand Circuit Week. And 2 or 3 years ago, David Morris, the track president, decided that they weren't attracting the top horses in the sport. So he upped the purse from $25,000 to $100,000 for the 2 big races, the 3-year-old Trot, the Harriman, and the 3-year-old Pace, which is now called the Haswell Memorial. The Trot was a tremendous success. This is this past Friday. It attracted 20 top 3-year-old trotters. I think every good 3-year-old trotter in the country was at Saratoga for this race. So they had 3 elimination heats. Top 3 from each heat qualified for the final. And you had 9 horses going in a final that was worth about $42,000. The total purse was $105,000.
Now, before the race, excuse me, what did you look for in the race? Who were the horses that you thought would lead? Who were the horses that you thought would eventually win the race?
Well, I guess the most interesting horse is Smokin' Yankee, Stanley Dancer's 2-year-old champion. He was a 2-year-old trotter of the year. This year he had 8 starts before Friday. He had won 4 of them, but he had lost a couple big races. He had lost the Yonkers Trot. He rebounded. He won a race at Brandywine by 9 lengths. He was the horse to beat in 1 heat. The other 2 heats were Keystone Triton was in 1 heat, and Carl Allen, not related to Jimmy Allen, he's from the Midwest, had a horse named Mo Bandy that won the Yonkers Trot. He was actually second. Keystone Triton won the race by a head, was placed second when he made a lap-on break. So those were the 3 standouts.
Okay. What we're going to do now is take a look at that race, and then Billy and I will analyze it afterwards, and we'll talk more about the sport of harness racing. So let's set the stage for you. It is Friday, July 3rd, race number 8, and for the call of the race, let's go to the monitor and Mr. George Miller.
Camp David on the rail drives for the lead. Smokin' Yankee in between horses. Second, Spice Island on the rail. Third, Liam Almahurst on the outside. Fourth, Keystone Triton is fifth. Seagull Hanover 6 has gone off gate. TNT's Bambino moves up and is now 7th as they swing through the turn, go to the backstretch. Start for the quarter. Camp David on top by a length. Smokin' Yankee right there, second by 4 lengths. Spice Island is third. They were at the quarter in 29 flat. Now into the paddock turn, first time coming around for the top of the stretch. It's Camp David with the lead by a length. Smokin' Yankee second by 3. Spice Island is third by 2. Liam Almahurst is fourth by 2.5. Keystone Triton fifth by 2.5. TNT's Bambino sixth. As they swing off the turn at the top of the stretch, Graf Zeppelin 7th. They're coming to the half, and Camp David continues to cut out the racetrack with Smokin' Yankee staying right there, challenging second by 2.5. Spice Island is third. Keystone Triton now under a drive fourth, beginning to move up on the outside. Liam Almahurst is fifth. They were at the half, 59-4. To the clubhouse turn, second time, Camp David still in front by a length, and Smokin' Yankee staying right there, a tight second by 3/4 of a length. Keystone Triton now on the outside, third. Spice Island is fourth. It's Graf Zeppelin fifth on the outside. Liam Almahurst is sixth. TNT's Bambino is 7th. As they go to the 3/4, they were at the 3/4 in 1:30-1 in the finals of the E. Harriman Memorial Trot. Paddock turn, final time. Camp David with the lead. Smokin' Yankee covered on the rail second. Keystone Triton right alongside third. Spice Island is fourth. Graf Zeppelin fifth. TNT's Bambino is sixth. Liam Almahurst is 7th. We're at the top of the stretch, coming for home. It's Camp David with the lead. Keystone Triton coming on the outside in a challenge. Smokin' Yankee goes off gate. It's Camp David.
And as you can see, here's the photo of that race. Keystone Triton nosing out Camp David. Eldon Harner driving Keystone Triton. Billy O'Donnell driving Camp David. Okay, Bill, we've just seen the race. The fans at home have seen the race. What was your analysis, and as you wrote about it in the Times-Union?
Well, you have to feel good. It was a former Monticello driver, Eldon Harner, and beating out a former Saratoga driver, Billy O'Donnell, who's now the leading money winner in the nation and driving from the Meadowlands. It was a very, very interesting race. It was basically a 3-horse race. Billy O'Donnell's horse, Camp David, who nobody really knew that much about, was lightly raced, but is a very, very top trotter and will be a definite factor in the Hambletonian later in the year. He had won the fastest elimination heat, 1:59-4. Very fast for trotters coming back on a half-mile track to do another heat in the final. So it was him, Smokin' Yankee, and Keystone Triton. When they drew for post position, the 3 winners, the other winner was Homesick, who made a break in the final. Camp David got the rail. O'Donnell used that advantage to make Dancer take the pocket behind him and sit second. They come to the half. It's basically a 3-horse race. Him sitting first, Stanley Dancer behind him, and here comes Eldon Harner on the outside with Keystone Triton. Stan had to make a decision. and he should have pulled at the half, because if he didn't, he was going to get locked in. Now, he knew that Camp David was a strong horse, had won the elimination heat very impressively, but by not pulling, he was locked in. So when they came around the head of the stretch, Camp David still had the lead, Keystone Triton was still on the outside, and Stanley Dancer found himself pinned in on the rail with Smokin' Yankee, nowhere to go. And if you saw it on the tape, he tried to move in between horses. There really wasn't room. What happened, the horse made a break. I don't know if it was because he threw a boot, but he did throw a boot on the track. When he made his break, he went up and actually hit Bill O'Donnell's sulky, driving Camp David. It affected him, who knows, maybe this much, but as you see from the photo, the difference was only a nose, so maybe that made a difference, maybe it didn't. Keystone Triton got up in just the last step. Nobody really knew who won the race once it was over.
Were you surprised? Were you very surprised by the outcome, or did you think that maybe that could happen?
I wasn't surprised that much. The thing that surprised me the most was the price Keystone Triton paid. He went off in the elimination heat against Camp David, the 6-5 favorite. Camp David won by 4.5 lengths. Keystone Triton was second, but it was a very easy second. Eldon Harner knew he had another heat to go, and he wasn't going to push the horse because he had to come back. He went off 12-1 as compared to 6-5 in the elimination heat and paid $26. That was surprising to anybody who bet him.
I'd like to have you on for the entire show. The professor is waiting in the wings. One question, though, before we get off. The sport of harness racing, your opinion, how are things going?
Things in New York State are not going well for harness racing. Yonkers is getting killed by the Meadowlands. Roosevelt is doing very badly. There's legislation pending in Albany, hopefully before the legislature adjourns next week, to get some kind of relief tax help through, as was given to Monticello last year. But I think very badly the sport of harness racing in New York needs unilateral legislation
from the lawmakers in Albany.
Yes, to fight the competition from the Meadowlands, because the Meadowlands is doing so well. Saratoga is having a very good meet, up 20%. Monticello is holding its own this year, but some of the other tracks in New York, Vernon Downs, Batavia, Buffalo, are not doing that well, and something has to be done.
Bill, thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
My good friend, Mr. Bill Heller from the Albany Times-Union, has to be one of the easiest interviews I've ever done. I only asked 4 questions. And we'll be back with the professor, Mr. John Manzi, right after these commercials.
Promotional considerations for the Inside Track provided by Carlos's Restaurant, the best Italian food in Sullivan County. Lefty's Charbroil, the better burger place. Kessler Brothers Butchers, Kessler's label enhances your table. The Bagel Bakery, famous for bagel treats and sandwiches, open 7 days. House of Lions, fine dining in a country inn atmosphere. Dunkin' Donuts, it's worth the trip, open 24 hours. Ellery's Betty Bright Cleaners, featuring complete tuxedo rentals and tailoring services. Capito Brothers Tire Specialists, for family care of your tire needs. The Holiday Inn Restaurant of Liberty, diversity in dining for the public appetite. And the Lin Yan Chinese Restaurant, authentic Chinatown delights right here in Sullivan County.
It's time to welcome the professor now to the Inside Track, decked out in his resplendent red sports coat, white shirt for the 4th of July. You're a little late, but it's
red,
okay.
white, and blue, huh? And blue shoes. No, they're white. How about Bill Heller?
Quite an act to follow.
I'm glad he's in Saratoga. He'd have my job down here. The guy's great.
He's not
super.
the professor, but he is quite a
very
student.
knowledgeable harness rider, as you said.
My good friend.
Yes, he is.
And yours, of course.
Yeah.
Sunday, July 5th at the Raceway, quite a day. The 11-year-old pacing gelding, Rambling Willie, was in town. 2 things very interesting about this race. First, he drew the 8-hole. Second, quite a field he was up against.
The toughest ever. Don Evans, the author of the book Rambling Willie, the horse that God loved, and trainer-driver Bob Farrington were quite concerned. He's in the toughest he has been on this promotional tour. Monticello Raceway is the 8th stop on this 17-track tour, and he's racing horse like Mostas Yankee, who was second his last start at the Meadowlands in 155-2.
Quite a good time.
The Sadler, who has 3 in a row at Foxborough up in Massachusetts, he has 3 wins in a row, 57 and change. So they were quite concerned, especially since he drew the 8-hole. But luck was with him, and God was on his side too. And Rambling Willie showed his heels to the field.
Okay, as we'll see. Let's set the stage for you because the tape does say it all. It does sell it also. Sunday, July 5th, race number 9. And for the call of the race, Monticello Raceway track announcer Jerry Glantz.
They're off and pacing. The Sadler GB goes for the early lead with Mostas Yankee. Mighty Eden along the rail. Dell's coming on the outside. Going into the first turn, the Sadler GB has the lead. Mostest Yankee on the outside is second. Mighty Eden along the rail third. Dell's Comet parked out fourth. J.B. Bird gets away fifth. Jim Bargine is off stride. Volo's Mike sixth. Rambling Willie is seventh. The Sadler GB at the rail takes him by the quarter in 27-4. Paddock turned the first time. Dell's Comet on the outside, and the Sadler GB battle it out for the lead. Mostest Yankee right there third. It's a gap of 5. Mighty Eden fourth. J.B. Bird fifth, a gap of 6 to Volo's Mike. Rambling Willie on the move on the outside seventh. Far back, Jim Bargine. By the stands the first time, the Sadler GB and Dell's Comet battle for the lead. Mostest Yankee third, the half mile, 57 flat, the second quarter in 29-1. Into the clubhouse turn. Dell's Comet on the outside ahead. The Sadler GB comes back at the rail. Mostest Yankee right there third. Mighty Eden fourth. J.B. Bird in the outside fifth. A gap of 2 to Rambling Willie sixth. Volo's Mike seventh. Jim Bargine has the best view. They head to the three-quarter pole. The Sadler GB with the lead. Dell's Comet second with J.B. Bird. Here comes Rambling Willie fourth and going up. 3/4 in 1:27-3. Paddock turned the final time. The Sadler at the rail. J.B. Bird on the outside. Willie's right there third. Mostest Yankee looking for racing room fourth. Mighty Eden fifth. They've got an eighth of a mile at the pace. Now they turn for home. The Sadler hanging top of the rail. J.B. Bird the middle of the track. Rambling Willie on the outside. J.B. Bird, Mostest Yankee the rail, and Rambling Willie. Rambling Willie wins it all.
Jerry, Glance and Rambling Willie coming home.
Great race call as usual by our buddy Jerry.
1:58-2, and that set a new Monticello Raceway track record for age geldings.
It was an incredible mile. Mostest Yankee, as you saw, was locked in. Perhaps if he'd shook loose, he might have been the strong horse. Rambling Willie didn't get the best of it. A horse broke going to the quarter, pushed him farther back. At the half, he was maybe 8 or 10 lengths off, and he made a move up the backstretch. He sat with cover, and as the field straightened out, Rambling Willie did his thing.
A great scenario.
It was a good one.
Okay, that was one pretty track and certainly one great race, Rambling Willie. Now let's go back to Saratoga. Billy Heller told us about the Harriman Trot. Tell us a little bit about the racetrack itself, Saratoga Raceway, because this is the first time that Saratoga's been on the inside track.
That's right, and George Miller, the announcer there, who does a fine job, who's just retired, I'm told, by Bill Heller. He's
after 22 years.
After 22 years, a great race caller. Saratoga half-mile track, a beautiful track up in Saratoga Springs, New York. It's right directly across the street from the thoroughbred track. So there's 2 tracks right there. A half-mile track established in 1941, so that's the 3rd track ever to have harness racing, pari-mutuel harness racing.
And that's why he is the professor.
And it is a fast track, I might add, too, a clay surface.
$100,000 pace. Seahawk Hanover won the race, which maybe I should have told the people, but we've seen Seahawk Hanover before.
Right, we saw him just last week as he beat French Chef and some of the big ones at the Meadowlands, and he was racing in the Battle of Brandywine. Seahawk Hanover, a product of the Monticello Raceway early closing series, driven by Benny the Whip Webster, trained by Skip Lewis. Also in that race, I might add, Brett's Advantage, who is a Monticello favorite, who started his career and his home base is at Monticello, puts in a real good race, hung a turn, 2 turns almost, a turn and a half anyway, past the quarter pole, and he sat in second. He did get second money here, and fast time, 1:58-2. Larry Roller's Brett's Advantage.
Okay, let's set the stage then for the people. Saturday, July 4th, race number 8. Let's go back to Saratoga and track announcer George Miller.
Here they go. Eternal Star on the rail drives for the lead. Umbro Wolf in between horses second. Seahawk Hanover racing third, and Tiger Almahurst on the rail fourth. Brett's Advantage on the outside fifth. Namiro 6. Skip presents and is 7. Steady Card is 8. And Second Alert is away last as they go to the clubhouse turn. Around to the backstretch, going to the 3/4. Umbro Wolf with the lead. Seahawk Hanover now ranging alongside, challenging head and head. And as they go to the quarter, Seahawk Hanover with the lead. Umbro Wolf is second. Brett's Advantage up third on the outside. Eternal Star fourth. Tiger Almahurst is fifth. Namiro 6. They were at the quarter, 29-1. Paddock turned first time coming around for the top of the stretch. Brett's Advantage has taken over the lead and opened up to 2.5 lengths. Seahawk Hanover racing second. Umbro Wolf is third. Eternal Star fourth. Tiger Almahurst is fifth. Namiro 6. Skip presents in seventh. Then Second Alert and Steady Card off the paddock turn. Coming out of the half, Brett's Advantage. Continuing to cut out the racetrack, Seahawk Hanover racing second. They were at the half, 59-3. And as they go to the clubhouse turn, second time Brett's Advantage with the lead. Seahawk Hanover now moving up, winging and taking over the lead. As they round the turn, go for the backstretch. Seahawk Hanover now in front by a length and a half. Brett's Advantage is second. Ambro Wolf is on the outside third by 3/4. Tiger Almahurst on the rail fourth. Eternal Star is alongside fifth. Namiro on the outside sixth. Skipper's Ensign is racing seventh. Second Alert and Steady Star are the trailers as they go to the 3/4 in 1:28 and 4. Into the paddock turn final time. It's Seahawk Hanover on front by 3 lengths. Brett's Advantage racing second. Tiger Almahurst is third. Ambro Wolf is fourth. Eternal Star fifth. And Skipper's Ensign and Namiro to the top of the stretch. They're coming for home. It's Seahawk Hanover cutting it out. And Brett's Advantage second. Tiger Almahurst third. Seahawk Hanover with the lead.
Seahawk Hanover, Benny the Whip Webster, 158 and 2 on an off track, winning the Haswell Memorial Pace at Saratoga. We'll be back with more on the inside track, upcoming promotions right after this.
Promotional considerations for the inside track provided by Clare's County Seat Restaurant for a congenial and truly elegant culinary experience. Ralph Cutler's Mail Modes, home of the Sandsabelt Slack, free alterations while you wait. The Down Under Lounge, if it ain't happening at the Down Under, it ain't happening. The Canton Restaurant, in Monticello, Chinese means Canton, open 7 days. Skater's World, you can enjoy the racing while the kids enjoy the skating. Willie's Bend and Elbow, serving dinner, pizza, and sandwiches in a lounge of distinction. Raceway Dining Terrace, enjoy complete dinners weeknights for $9.95 while you watch the racing. Miss Monticello Diner, the finest in early American home-style cooking. And Bernie's Holiday Restaurant, food served with a pinch of love.
Trivia time now on the inside track, and we always go through the haze for this portion of the show.
It's time for me to light up,
I know. Question from last week. Who is the driver of the first Monticello Classic winner, which was Silk Stockings? And the answer, Professor?
Preston Burris Jr.
Very good.
Blue and gold.
And the person who won that wins the dinner for 2 at Monticello Raceway in the Raceway Dining Terrace is Cheryl Kimmel of Osborne Street in Monticello. She wins dinner for 2, as I said, in our beautiful Raceway Dining Terrace. Professor, give the fans this week's question.
We're staying with the Classic. You know, fans know it's August 2nd, the big $300,000 race. Who was the only Classic winner that was not a morning line favorite?
A different type of question. Some people are going to have to think a little more about this one.
We've had 6 Classics, and 5 of them have been morning line favorites. 5 winners have been morning line favorites. 1 wasn't.
And you can write to the inside track, Monticello Raceway, Monticello, New York, and you too may win dinner for 2 in our Raceway Dining Terrace. Professor, upcoming promotions, but first, let's go back to past promotions. On Tuesday, June 30th at Monticello Raceway, the beautiful and magnificent Budweiser Clydesdales were at the track.
Right, we had them. They performed. They did a figure 8. The track was a little too crowned for them to do some of their fancy steps, but as we'll see with this tape, they were a spectacle.
So if George can get it ready in the control room, there it is on your screen.
Look at this here.
And we can also hear the Budweiser Clydesdales as well as see them.
Budweiser beer's the one that's leading the rest. When you say Bud and Beechwood aging makes it beer at its best. When you say Bud, one taste will tell you so loud and clear. There's only one Budweiser beer. There's only one Budweiser beer. When you say Bud, there's nothing left you can say. When you say Bud, when you say Bud, the king is right on his way. When you say Bud, the king is coming. Let's hear the call. When you say
Professor, they were quite an attraction. They're just
magnificent
incredible
animals,
horses,
right.
as you mentioned many
We
times.
saw them in the barn. Says how tall were they? God, they were 6 feet tall.
And their hoofs, their feet, whatever.
Huge, like this. You saw them too, right?
They were very, very big and a
Beautiful
magnificent
animals.
display. Coming up, July 11th, for all your Greek friends, we will have Greek night at the Raceway.
Is that the night we bet to come from behind horses? Right on
July
Greek
11th.
night, right?
July 11th, and
Okay.
many pastries.
And we have
Greek music.
entertainment that night, and it's going to be a festive evening. No breaking the plates, though, sir.
And the next afternoon, July 12th, that was quite a description. July 12th, Beasley versus the Beast Part 2. Odd man Beasley
Spectacle. Beasley Reese, the strong safety and kick return artist from the New York
Crowd
Giants.
loves you today, I'll tell you.
He's going to race Super Chris, one of the losingest horses in the history of the world.
Okay, let's go back to last year then. June 21st, 1980, watch John Manzi hold Super Chris.
Lie.
Watch Beasley Reese.
Beasley jumped the gun.
win the race.
Oh, that's a lie. Look, you'll see it.
Beasley getting set in the block.
See? I dropped the flag. He was way gone.
Chris looks like he's going to be 0 for 76. Reese all the way in a jog burger over Super Chris. Beasley Reese in front and drawing away.
Now this
The
year it'll be
beast.
220 yards.
We're gonna up the distance. As you know, the horse from a standing start, it's tough for him. But this time we're going to double the distance and let Beasley run twice as far. And the horse, he'll break out again to the early lead, and but the horse will come after him at the end.
That's Sunday, July 12th.
In the afternoon, after the third race.
Now, as everybody knows, July is Classic Month.
$300,000 race, brand new fella at this time. Suss looms to be the favorite, the morning line favorite. Comes off an impressive win last Saturday at Roosevelt. He won handily in the mud at Monticello in 58-4. And his challenge
The horse to beat right now.
Right, will come from Bobo and Shadow Dancing.
Professor, thanks a lot. My thanks to, of course, the professor, Mr. John Manzi, and Mr. Bill Heller from the Albany Times Union. And we'll see you next week with more exciting race footage and something very exciting from Blue Chip Farm. Join us next week on The Inside Track. Good evening.
Meet you at Monticello. Great racing at Monticello. The world's very fastest half-mile track. That's Monticello Raceway. Meet you at Monticello. There's excitement